Hi everybody, welcome back to Anna with Plants. My name is Anastasia. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. In today's video, I have a Halloween special for you. We are going to be doing some Hoya chores. I have some plant horror stories that you guys have shared with me and also some general Halloween questions, kind of like a Halloween tag, if you want to call it that I'm going to be answering. And I really want to hear your guys' answers to the Halloween tag as well, so please feel free to comment down below. Without further ado, we are just gonna jump right into it. Let's start. I think if I counted right, I have 9 Hoyas that I really want to get out of their original mix into a mix that I'm used to using. I have 9 of those guys right in front of me. And then I have 3 Hoyas that I need to trellis and 2 that are propagations that I want to pot up. So we're gonna start off with the really easy ones, so the ones that I want to trellis. The first one is the Hoya Wilbur Graves, and the one that I got is called Thailand. That is the variety that I have. Very, very beautiful and splashy, and this one has started to grow a tendril, so it is definitely in need of a trellis. The other one I don't really know how to pronounce. Starts with a V. I'm gonna go ahead and insert it, but this one also really needs a trellis. And then the last one that I just want to put like a plant stake in is a Hoya multiflora Wonderfill. These are the newest leaves I have in my care, and it's also growing a new set right there, and you can see a peduncle that is starting to form, so very exciting. Let's start off with the super easy one. Let me show you if there's any root action. Oh yes, there is some root action. So look at these roots, really nice. And then we have some over here. So definitely not time for a repot. I just want to kind of stabilize it a little bit and give it some support. Really simple. Just gonna take this stake, plastic acrylic stake, and I'm just gonna work it in here. I'm gonna take some clips and just stake it to here. Okay, really easy, super quick. So now once it starts growing, I'm just gonna trellis it up here and hopefully it'll feel supported and maybe start to bloom, because I know these are very early bloomers. Can't wait for that. So first one already done off the bat, super quick, super easy. Next one, let's tackle this guy here. Not as many roots, but they are growing and they're green and healthy. There they are here. This one actually has 2 tendrils happening. So there's one tendril here with a little cute baby leaf, and then there's another tendril here that's growing a baby leaf. I decided to do a circle trellis for this one. This is kind of like a medium size, and I want to probably stake it behind like this. Just gonna push her in. I don't want to like hurt the roots, so I'm kind of being as gentle as possible. I think that'll hold. And want to make sure they're all pointing up, because Hoya tendrils do be like that. Right now it's gonna look a little bit wonky, but once it starts growing, it'll look better. And I made sure to give this baby leaf a little bit more room. Second one trellised, super quick. The last one that we're gonna do, and then I'm gonna jump into talking about some of your guys' plant horror stories. This one actually has rooted in pretty well. Hopefully y'all can see that. Lovely, lovely roots. I just watered these yesterday, so that's why they are actually watered for a change. Shocking, I know. This is the newest leaf that grew right here, and all of them have just become so splashy and just ridiculously gorgeous. I am obsessed with this particular plant I got. Let's get her trellised. This trellis might be a little bit too big for this container, but I don't think it's time for a repot. Gonna do the best we can. I think right now we can only trellis one of the tendrils, so I want to just... it has so many new baby leaves. I just want to be gentle. We are all done with this one. I have my mix over here, and then I have 2 square small pots, and these are the 2 Hoya props we are going to pot up. The first one is the Pandarata Silver. This leaf kind of grew in a little bit wonky, but that's fine. It has a new tendril growing out of it. So I want to say this is the Nap 01. It hasn't grown a growth point yet. The leaves feel fine and there are plenty of roots in this, so I just want to get it potted up and see if maybe that'll help it kickstart some new growth. I really do love the texture on these leaves. Really nice. Let's also get the first plant horror story going. Her name is Planty Tiff, and she says, so I've been plant momming for 3-ish years now. The entire second year, I didn't fertilize my plants at all. I was so scared to because I did it so wrong to begin with and lost so many of my plants because of it. I mean, pouring the fertilizer straight into the soil, no measuring or anything. Thank goodness for growth. Oh no, that... So interesting to hear about the beginner mistakes that we make when we first start getting into plants. I gotta say, I haven't heard of anyone pouring straight fertilizer into their plants. That is definitely a horror story. I'm curious for you to tell me what happened to the plants when you did that. Did they just get like straight fertilizer burn? That's a gnarly one. You're right, it's all about growth. I pride my channel, or I guess pride is a weird word for that, but I pride my channel in just me doing my planty things. There's so much trial and error when it comes to it, and the one thing that I'm not scared of is to not do anything perfectly. It's honestly good to make those kinds of errors because that's just the way that you learn. That is your personal journey to go on. This is the first one potted up. Next, I'm gonna tackle the Pandorata, and I'm gonna read the next submission I got, which I think is from Dave, or Sober Plant Guy. If you don't follow Dave, I will go ahead and link his channel down below. He's really awesome, very funny, and he knows his Hoyas, so please follow him. He says, I used to have one of the most beautiful Esmeraldense, I think I said that right, I've ever seen. Okay, it's the only one I've ever seen in person still. One still day this spring, I took it outside, and at some point a wind gust pushed those giant leaves like sails and drug it across my concrete sidewalk. I then did the exact same thing 1 week later. For shame, Dave, for shame. That is so sad. Oh no, I hate it when you have like a perfect leaf, right? Or just like a really nice looking plant, knock into it and it falls over and the new leaves get all scratched up, or in Dave's case, put it outside to the elements and the concrete sidewalk. Yeah, that's true pain. But like Tiff said, thank God for new growth. So no matter how much you mess up your plants, there's always a new leaf on the way. And the plants will forgive us like that, unless they are a calathea, then they'll never forgive you. So mostly all other plants will forgive you. Thanks, Dave, for sharing with us your plant horror story. That is really funny that you did it again. And the Pandorata is all done, so I have these potted up. I really have no rhyme or reason as to the first one that I'm gonna do. I think I'm just gonna do this one since it's right in front of me. This is my Nap 16, which is a Memoria crossed with a Rosita, and it has given me some new growth. This is what it looks like. It grew some new leaves over here, and then some new leaves over here, and I really love also the backsides of the leaves. This, I think, is in a tree fern mix. I can't really tell, but it keeps drying out. I want to put it in something a little different. Well, that's the plant we're going to be working on. And the next person, Marie, says, my top IKEA Redsta shelf falling with plants full of pond and water. Oh, I bet that was a I bet I can't curse on this channel anymore. I bet that took a long time to clean up. I'm so sorry. I hope all the plants made it. I hope that the shelf is okay. What is the Redsta shelf? Is it kind of like a shelf like this? Because I also got this from IKEA, so I'm curious to know what it looks like. I guess I can just Google it, but how did it fall over? Is my question. And I am so sorry that happened to you. Here are the roots. Looking okay, just a little dry, and I think this is tree fern. Yeah, it's tree fern and perlite. Yes. Next story. This comes from X Trengo. Says, I can't keep my Mimosa pudica Is that how you say it? Alive. A lot of my plants died last winter. I finally got an alocasia to revive again from a wooden stump. Oh, congrats. And all of my, I feel like I should be able to say this, trade Santias died except one. Is that how you say it? What is that? Should I know what that is? I will definitely have to look up what that is. I feel you though on the alocasia. A lot of my alocasia died, but that's very, very impressive that you were able to revive yours. Congrats on that. I have no idea what a mimosa pudica is. It seems like you have some really cool plants in your collections. And I am very, very sorry that a lot of your plants died last winter. As you can tell from a lot of my videos, it's really hard keeping up with plants sometimes, especially when life just happens. Honestly, I don't think we should ever be too hard on ourselves because we're doing the best we can with what we got. If you've watched any of my videos, then you would have known I killed a lot of plants too, especially this summer. I'm all done putting this one in my mix. So that's the Nap 16. Let's keep going. This is the Sabah Dragonfly. I love these leaves so much, and I love when they come in as a brand new leaf because they almost have like a bluey green shift to them. They are so, so cool, and I just love how they have a bit of splash and they're elongated. I definitely need to get it out of its mix. It's currently in a fluval mix, and I need to trellis it up as well. I also have one more comment from you guys on my newest upload. That's a horror story. So Casey says, well, my ghost cactus ended up with mealies. That's my October horror story. Yeah, mealies are horrific. If you haven't seen my mealy bug saga this summer, that is one to watch if you want to feel better about your plant collection. But luckily, if you don't have like a full-on outbreak of them and you just catch them on one plant, and it sounds like they are only on your ghost cactus. After mealies take hold and they show up on a lot of your plants, especially those really tiny Hoya leaves, that is tragic. The roots seem good. Some of them are falling away, but I think it's just because I'm removing the leca too. Yeah, fluval stratum does a good job with rooting Hoyas. I just really don't like how dry it gets. It gets so, so dry, and I feel like this one's been drying out a lot in the garage. This is the roots that we are working with. Is this one? Yeah, this one should be okay. Clay pebbles down at the bottom. Moving on to the Halloween tag. My first question I have here, I just kind of Googled Halloween tag and I just compiled some of the questions that I thought were a bit fun to answer. Again, feel free to comment what you would answer to these questions too. So first one is, what's your favorite horror movie? I am a little bit of a scaredy cat when it comes to horror movies, so I don't watch them very often, but definitely I will watch them around Halloween. That is like the one time that I will do that. I have a few that I like. I don't think I have like a really top one that I'll always go to. Some of them are more like Halloween movies, so they're not really like horror movies. I do have some horror movies that I like. So the first few that I want to talk about are actually just Halloween movies. I love Hocus Pocus. I kid you not, I watch Hocus Pocus on Halloween night. I think I've been doing it for like the last 4 years or something. Yes, I am an actual child at heart because that movie is so nostalgic for me. I remember watching it when I was a child going trick-or-treating, so it's just full-on vibes. That's all it gives me. Also, Halloween Town. Same thing. It's not the best movies, of course not, but they're just like cult classics. They just kind of make you feel like a child again in the best way possible. I think I'll just put like a normal arch trellis. That's fine. For like feel-good movies, so if you're kind of like a scaredy cat like me when it comes to horror, good old Halloween movies will scratch that itch for sure. If we want to talk about like actual horror movies, ooh, a little leaf fell. Let me just grab it. I think that was like a new baby leaf that was just coming out. Whoops. I really like The Conjuring. I know that's kind of like a typical horror movie that a lot of people like. The first Conjuring. I haven't really seen the other one, so I can't really vouch for them. That one was the first one that I saw that kind of had like a decent plot and the acting was okay. The other one that I really liked was Get Out. That was just beginning to end, fantastic. Basically any of the movies that, is it Jordan Peele? I think it's Jordan Peele is the director for those. Any of the ones that he happens to put out. I really loved Get Out when it first came out. The other horror movie that I like that is more of like a classic is The Shining. I really do like Jack Nicholson. I think he's a great actor. I really love like a lot of his movies that he's been in. The Shining is, I think it's a little bit creepy. I don't think I would really classify it as scary. Maybe back when it came out, it was pretty scary. Gotta love The Shining. That's a good oldie, but a goodie. Sabah Dragonfly, I believe. All good to go on the trellis. I just have my like nutrient mix in a little squeezy bottle and I'm just gonna water it. If you can hear children playing, this room is like right next to a playground for my community, so that might happen. My bad. This is the Hoya Una. It's in a soil mix, I want to guess, and this is it right now because there were, I think there's 2 or 3 plants in this pot and it just grew 6 leaves all in one go. It's really, really beautiful, stunning splash, a little bit of wave going through there, and it also has dark margins. Really beautiful plant. Let's get it out of the substrate. Favorite horror movie. So talked about Get Out, The Shining. Loved the first Quiet Place. I haven't seen the sequel or like the new one that just came out, but the original Quiet Place was also really good. There's one horror movie that like literally traumatized me. Seriously traumatized me. I would think about a particular scene in this movie for like weeks afterwards I saw it. It creeped me the F out. It's Hereditary. Let me know if you've also watched Hereditary and what you thought about it and that scene. You know what scene I'm talking about. I don't want to talk about it, A, because I don't know about YouTube's guidelines, but also B, if you guys do want to watch it and you are into horror movies and you haven't seen that yet, I highly suggest you go watch it because you'll be spooked. 100%. I was literally on the couch under the blanket, like peeping out. I thought it was pretty scary. Oh my god, yeah, that one scene, it was just so shocking and just so final and sudden that I literally, my mouth was on the floor. There are 2 plants in here, like I thought. These are the roots. I cleaned them pretty much the best that I can. Next question. If you're in a horror movie, how far do you think you would get? I mean, are we talking about like those super cheesy horror movies where they hear a strange sound and then they actually go check it out in their basement with no lights on? Are we talking about those cliche horror movies? Because if that were the case, I feel like in those movies I could get quite far. I do not want to check out any weird sounds, just because common sense, right? But if we're talking about like a zombie movie where they're like chasing you, I used to be fit, you know, and in shape, and I also did used to run quite a bit. Not so much anymore, so I feel in the current state that I'm in, I will not get very far in a zombie movie where I have to run a lot. As an answer to that one, I don't think I'll be the first one to go, but I don't really see myself also hanging in there until the end either. Is that horrible of me to say of myself? And especially if I'm like alone, no. So this is the Hoya Una on her trellis and looking real good. I'm just gonna get the substrate a little bit wet before I water it through. I just really hate super dry substrate. I don't know why, it's just like a thing. Now we're gonna be moving on to all of the Hoyas in the husk mixture. I really, truly hate the feel of dry husk. Texturally for me, nope. Let's go ahead and do the Black Magic. I did cut the tendril off just because it was dead and no need to keep it. Really love this stunning Hoya. So let's see what's going on here root-wise. I did water these yesterday because I knew I was going to do the repot today and I didn't want to feel dry cocoa husk. Is that just like a me problem? I feel like it's just a me problem. That's fine. Next question is one unusual thing you're afraid of. I feel like a lot of my fears are, you know, rational. Spiders, death, public speaking, normal fears. I feel like I should have thought about my answers before. I don't know if this is unusual, maybe depending on the type of person you are, but I'm an introvert. I think a lot of plant people are that way. Not all of them, but I feel like a majority of them are. And one of my fears is having to go to a party where you only know the person that you're going with because they invited you to it. So you go with them and then they happen to like ditch you at it. And then you're just awkwardly holding, you know, your drink in your hand, not knowing anyone else, and everyone else is in conversation and you're just kind of like standing there awkwardly. That's a fear. Sorry to get like super specific about it, but I think now at my age, I like strictly avoid those. I can't even remember the last time that I was in that position, but I do remember in college that happened quite a bit. I think this is about as good as I'm gonna get. What size pot do we want to use for this? A 4-inch pot will be good for that. I'm sure there's plenty of other really weird things that I'm scared of, but let's just go with that one for now. And let's move on to the next question. Favorite Halloween movie? Oh, I totally combined this with the first one. My bad. Halloween movies, Hocus Pocus, Halloween Town. I also really like Practical Magic, which might be a little bit controversial because I feel like the acting is definitely not the greatest. That movie was made because of the book by Alice Hoffman. I love those books. Strangely, I don't like the Practical Magic book as much as I like the first book. I totally forgot what it is off the top of my head right now, but the first book in that series is really, really good. So if you're into books, highly suggest you go read it. Black Magic is all repotted and good to go. So let's trellis and repot this guy. This is from UPT. This is the Clemenciorum from Northern Sumatra. These leaves are just the best. When you think of this plant, I feel like these leaves are definitely what you think of. Love the veins, love the edges and how they're sharp and wavy. These are the other leaves that it's growing. Yeah, really, really beautiful plant. The roots here look a little better than the last one. They're just really in that cocoa husk mix, and this mix is like pretty much all cocoa husk, so that's gonna be hard to separate. Sometimes when I'm really lazy, I just like will stick the plant in here and hope for the best because I don't want to separate the roots from it. Honestly, I might do it with this one just because it is like really well rooted in there and I don't want to disturb the roots any more than I have. Because look, see, I hate it when that happens. Just put it in a little 4-inch pot, surrounded with some tree fern and hope for the best. That sounds good. This might be a mistake, 100%. It's a mistake that I'm willing to make. Oh, and I totally forgot a trellis. Oopsies. Let's go ahead and stick one in after the fact. Dampen the substrate a little bit. And that is the Clemenciorum, all trellised. Good to go. This is the Hoya latifolia. This is the textured veins, is UPT009, and then this is the Sulawesi, GPS 8867. These honestly kind of look similar to the eye, don't they? They have the same textured veins. They look pretty similar. I really love the colors that the GPS one puts out. I think it puts out some really, really stunning colors. Oh wow, this one is actually really, this one's pretty well rooted too. You can see. I'm gonna do the lazy transition for all of these cocoa husk ones, I think, because I really don't want to disturb the roots, especially because this one is pushing out a growth point. I don't know if you guys saw that growth point. I've also done this before and it has worked, so hopefully it'll work again. Next question is favorite Halloween candy. This is gonna be a little bit controversial too because I really love Almond Joys. And I know some people hate Almond Joys, like absolutely hate Almond Joys. There's something about like the mix between like the coconut and the chocolate that's nice. In terms of like non-chocolate candy, I like Sour Patch Kids. I think that's probably like my favorite non-chocolate Halloween candy. Also Nerds. Nerds are pretty good. Let's unpot this one. Hopefully it's not as densely packed as the other latifolia, because that one was pretty dense. Oh yeah, this one's a lot easier. You see how it just falls apart. Look at the top. All the top stem for some reason didn't root, but on the bottom it did. That's kind of what I noticed when I root Hoya props. If it doesn't have aerial roots, it generally tends to root at the bottom of the stem. That's what that looks like. It just rooted at the bottom, and then there's a lot of bare stem. I know this is a dirty container, but should be fine, I promise. I think I'm probably gonna put it in here. Yeah, just because I want the stem to be totally submerged. Also, I saw a spider crawl out amongst the cocoa husk, and now I'm terrified. So this is the Latifolia sulawesi, and I potted it in a little bit of a deeper container. Can I also say something a little bit controversial? Is I just think that American chocolate, especially like the Halloween chocolate, is just not very good compared to like the chocolate that other countries are coming out with. Other countries, it just tastes so much better, like so much higher quality than the American chocolate. I don't know if you guys know, but I was born in Russia, hence why my name is Anastasia, and the candy in Russia is really amazing. I remember when my grandparents moved to the United States, they brought like so much Russian candy with them, bags and bags of it, and I was just in heaven. Moving on to, I think this is the last UBT one. This is the Hoya verticillata, and this is the MA07. It's grown some longer tendrils, so I think I'm gonna leave it trailing though. I kind of like the look of it, and although at first glance this one doesn't really seem that special, but I really like the abs that the leaves get. They just have the coolest little abs and a little bit of splash, and if you get it into highlight, the black margins really come out. I think this one's pretty cool. All right, I think this is the last cocoa husk mix plant. The husk is a little bit compacted in the middle, so I might do another lazy transition. Just gonna go ahead and grab one of the 4-inchers, and I think I'm just gonna pot it up like this. Okay, next question is, have you ever dressed up any pets for Halloween? I can't remember if I ever dressed up Cassie. She was a cat that I had, like a tuxedo cat that I had for like 18 years. I don't know if I ever dressed her up because she hated whenever I put anything on her. So I don't think I did to her, but Luca, my dog right now, we did get a Halloween costume for him. So I'll go ahead and insert the pics because we had him try it on for fun when we got it, and he doesn't like it, but I think it's adorable. Well, he tolerates it. Like I can tell he would prefer not to wear it. I think we'll actually dress him up in his pumpkin costume when we get some trick-or-treaters. I think that'll be really, really cute. Come on, like pets in Halloween costumes is the most adorable thing ever. That's the MA06, or is it 06 or 07? Hold on. MA07, not bad. We are at the last plant and the last question. So this is the last plant. This is the Elliptica Splash, and I think it's in some kind of cocoa soil, not sure. The last question is, any paranormal experiences? I don't really have any actually good ones to share. That's another question, is do you guys actually believe in ghosts? Oh, this one has a lot less roots than I thought it did. Holy moly. I think I might actually need to put it in something much smaller. These are the roots. I think I'll put it in one of these. Yeah, I think this one will be more at speed. That is a question in and of itself. I tend to say no. I don't really believe in ghosts. I do believe that there might be things out there that we can't explain. Definitely things that have happened that we just don't have the knowledge of being able to explain, if that makes sense. I do have one kind of not so spooky story that happened to me, and it was just basically, I was napping in my bedroom, right, high schooler, and I remember waking up from my nap and I was just very groggy, and I remember it being like a colder day, and this is important because I knew there was no like AC on that day, and I was going to walk to my door to open it because the door was closed, and I kid you not, a gust of wind hit me in the face. And I remember it being so strong, like my hair kind of blew back a bit. I just had a nap, so I was kind of like out of it and groggy, but I remember when that happened, I fully woke up and I was like, wait a second, that was really weird. And I just had the heebie-jeebies and I opened the door real fast, ran out of my room. I'm sure it can be explained by something, maybe. We didn't have AC on. There was not like a fan in my room going. Again, not a super scary story, but just one that I just can't explain why that happened. And if you have any good paranormal stories, please make sure to leave them down below because I love reading paranormal experiences. This is the Elliptica Splash. We have it on a trellis. We have made it through all of the Hoyas. You can answer all of the questions that I included. I'll go ahead and leave the prompts in my description. So that completes the Halloween special for this year. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that everyone has a lovely, fun, and safe Halloween this year. I will see you in the next one. Bye.